From a dark, twisted thriller to an animated Nickelodeon classic to the return of pop culture favorites, you've got a lot to choose from when it comes to streaming. And Erin Zimmerman, president of KC Women in Film and TV, is here to tell us which shows are worth your time and which aren't. Yesterday was great weather outside, so it's hard to be inside watching TV, but today it's back hot again, so we want to get back inside and binge on some shows. Glow Season 3 came out last month. Now, kind of walk us through this. Is women's wrestling...
Yeah.
What about it makes me need to watch this show?
It's in the 80s. It's based on real women's wrestling in the 80s. But it brings, I mean, here's the thing. It brings in all kinds of conversations we're having today into it, but there are conversations that have been going on forever.
Yeah.
And so I felt, this is season 3. I was unsure if they were going to be able to keep developing the characters to make me care. Oh my gosh, but they did such a good job.
But it keeps going. Okay,
yes,
good.
Yes, and so they cover everything. They cover sexuality. They cover the conversation of whether to have kids or not.
Wow.
They cover, you know, women in the workplace and not getting paid
Interesting.
enough
So
at
on the
all.
surface, it's about wrestling, but it delves into topics more deep than that.
Yes,
Okay.
and it goes into characters that before they were just like tertiary or
Yeah.
even further back. And I love when they bring in different characters like that. In the beginning, it was definitely all about, you know, the two main characters, one of them being Allison Brie, who is amazing in this.
Yeah.
We've always seen her as a funny person, but she's got a really,
Really?
good dramatic chops.
Good.
But they also bring in Gina Davis in this season.
Oh, classic
and,
Gina Davis,
So,
yes.
so good. Highly recommend and easy to watch.
All right. Well, the first season of Mindhunter was a fascinating look into the mind of some serial killers. How can this go to the second season? Do we find more serial killers?
Right? It's not like more interviews in that same exact, which was great because
so
again,
it's
that was
a turn on it then, so something new and different. Great.
It's a little bit. It's the same characters. They're still developing this interview sector basically of the FBI. And the thing is, they are put into a position where they need to help with a current potential serial killer.
Oh, okay.
And so it's fascinating to watch it in the active perspective because you see people who are like, well, the research says this, or this is how past things have worked out. And it's people butting heads where it's like, well, this is what we've seen through our research, but this is what's going on right now.
Interesting.
It's really, really good. Again, it was one of those where I was like, you know, after season 1, is it just going to be more of the same? And it wasn't. It was great.
Well, there's a lot of other things that have coming out that are streaming now. So let's run through the gamut of these new releases that have come out in the last month. This is Dear White People. It's season 3.
Season 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked this. It's easily bingeable. They do touch on things, which one of the main things they touch on in this season is mental health, which I think is super important. And I love that more shows are doing this and making it less of a taboo thing.
Yeah, and having that conversation is important.
Yes, conversations are so important. This was not my favorite season, but I still think, I feel like it's mandatory watching.
It's good to watch.
I just do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dairy Girls season 2.
Watch season 1.
I think that was all we needed on that one.
Right? Watch season 1. That's all I gotta say. If you haven't seen season 1, watch that.
All right, here's some animated fun stuff for the kids, but maybe also for the adults. Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, so they came out with a 45-minute movie, basically, follow-up. They haven't made that show in like 20 years.
Yeah.
But it is definitely for adults and kids. Like, it's the same as it was when I was younger. I just didn't realize it was for adults when I was younger.
Exactly.
So
You
it's
just
really funny.
You didn't grab some of those other thematic things that came over the top. But next is Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj, right?
Yes.
I saw him at I first realized who he was after he hosted the Correspondents' Dinner for the White House a couple years back.
Yes, he's so good. And my thing is, I always love, you know, making fun of the news isn't what I'm looking for, but I'm looking for humor with the news delivery, especially when it's really important subjects. It's not making fun of it, it's delivering
and
it.
And is he a Daily Show correspondent still too?
Yeah.
All right, real quick, next to Handmaid's Tale season 3.
Yes, it ended, honestly, my favorite episode of the entire season was the very last
finale?
one, and I feel like you probably could have just watched the last one and skipped the entire season.
Okay.
But we've got a season 4 coming, so
and
we'll
then 13 Reasons Why, of course, this was the very controversial show from last season that talks on themes of suicide.
Yes. So this was actually the 3rd season, and it's gone off the rails.
Seems like it's straying away a little bit.
Yes, it's talking about investigating a murder that's like not super important, I feel, to the storyline.
So
again,
kind of gone away from what that original season was about.
Yes, and the important messaging and all that, and the conversation that was happening with it. Like, if you haven't seen season 1 yet, you may not ever watch it, and I get that. But like season 1 and
That
done.
was okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, Erin, we appreciate your time. We got through the whole list. High five.
Yeah.
Boom. There it is. We're back right after this.